Hi Tubies, here's Alexander again, and welcome to another painting tutorial. Well, it's been quite some time from my last painting tutorial, and some of you have criticized that also already. Well, I had several things to do, and I wasn't able to record a complete painting tutorial on the last time. But this will change now again. So, what we will paint today is an elf. I have found a very striking color scheme here in one of the Lord of the Rings newspapers here from D'Agostini I have laying around. This was issue number 22 here, and I want to copy that because I find it quite striking. So what I have here is one of the elves from Lord of the Rings, from the first appearance. So normally these elves are painted in golds and blues and grays and such things, or in reds and golds, but yeah, I want to paint him now in green and silver. And for that I will start with Caliban green for all the clothing parts. So I simply take that paint on my paint palette, and as you can see, the miniature is primed in gray. This is Uniform Gray from Army Painter. It's a spray primer. So I simply paint now the whole clothing part in Caliban green. Well, this is nothing very major interesting. So, like usual, I will skip forward to the interesting part. So, the first layer of green is applied, as you can see. And this is now followed by the brown parts of the miniature. And we will paint that in Rhinox hide. So, for example, here the shoes, then the bow, and the little arrow back. I don't know how to call it in English. Sorry. So just simply paint it on. So this is also nothing special and important. So there we have the brown, and the next layer will be the armor, and we will paint that in Iron Breaker. So it's simple as that. Just paint it on. And you may have noticed the steps I'm doing here right now is just simply blocking out the main colors on the miniature. So, and we are already done, almost done with it. Only thing that is missing then is a little bit skin color, and then we can start with shading and highlighting on all the fun stuff. So these belts here around the miniature we will paint in white, and for that instance we will let the gray undercoat be there. That's a good base for painting white cloth. Yeah. So I will finish the armor parts now and be right back. Okie doke, there we have the silver parts now, and the last thing to do before we start with the shading and highlighting are the arrows here that we will go ahead and paint in, there we have it, in XV88. And the skin tone we will paint here in heavy skin tone from Game Extra Opaque from Vallejo Colors. It's a new color I just bought, so don't be confused that I haven't readjusted already in this pot. This is a very recent pot. So a little bit on the palette, and then a little bit of water in it, like usual, to give the color a better flow. Not much, just a little bit. So yeah, and that is a really, really nice covering skin tone. So a little bit difficult to paint the face in such a small helmet, but with a good pointy brush that is absolutely manageable. See? No problem whatsoever. So, and by the way, if you want to know how to paint the more recent elves from Lord of the Rings, then I highly suggest you should check out my Haldir tutorial. There I show how to paint gold and red on an elf. And for the old ones in gold and blue, you could mix the techniques from the Haldir tutorial and my Warhammer Fantasy Battle High Elf tutorial. There I've painted a Swordmaster, and there are several techniques that you could take over to these kinds of elves here. Yeah. So that was the skin tone. Now come the arrows. Let's take the XV88. So it's already done. We have it. And now for the feathers of the bow, I would say to give it a little bit more striking color, I would suggest we take a red. And for that we use corn red, or like Shohan would say, cohorn. I guess some of you might guess what I'm talking about. The gods are not pleased if you call them that way. No, they aren't. This is blasphemy. No, this is Sparta. Dum 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 dum. So, and there we have now the elf completely painted in his base colors. So what I will do now is give this elf shading, and for that I use Nuln Oil, but I don't want to have him super dark. For that instance I take here my painting palette, and then I simply take some of the wash on the palette. And for those of you that still don't know what a wash is, you see this is very liquid color. But it is something completely different than the normal acrylic color. It behaves completely different, so just watering down normal color have different effects on the miniature. So, and with that I will add some water to it. So, I guess that should be enough. And now we will shade the miniature with that. You see? This is not so super black anymore. This just gives some subtle shadings. Very subtle, very fine, not so harsh. Okie doke. So, and for the drying purposes, I suggest the following. This is a very runny wash now. If you would lay him upside down, so, upside down, what would that be? No, if you stand him upright and let it dry, all the wash would now run down, and we have all the wash down here and nothing on top. So I suggest to move him like that around while you use your handy dandy hairdryer. So I have mine right here. And that way you can guarantee that the wash is not down in the bottoms, so it is everywhere. I'll let that dry now with my hairdryer and be right back. Okay, now it's time to start with highlights. We will start at the green, and for that we start taking our previous color, the Caliban green, taking that on the palette, like that. And as a highlight color, we take mood green. This is the new scorpion green. Okay, and what we'll do now is simply mix those two colors together. Yeah, that looks good. Adding a little bit of water. Okay. And with that now, we will start painting the green parts again. And we will leave, as always, the recess areas in the dark color. So that in the end we have nice shadow lines. And this color is here, then the highlight. So, and if you have too much paint on the brush, you can always take a paper towel and adjust the amount of color on your brush. So, I get often the question, oh, I'm totally overloading my miniature with the paint, I can't work with such liquid color. Well, it's just a matter of adjusting the amount on your brush. But over time you will know how to work with it, how to play with the liquid color on the surface, and then you get the hang on of it. So I will finish this step now and be right back. So Joey's, for the next highlight step we will do the same. We take our mood green and mix it in with the other color, so we get a brighter version of that, and also a little bit of water in it. Adjust the amount on your brush and then start highlighting, and also leave a little bit of the old color behind, so you get in the end a transition. Very gently, just with the tip of the brush. And I definitely need a new brush. This one has a split edge and I can't fix it anymore. So after this paint job, this brush will get base duty. No, I don't throw brushes away. At the end of the detailed painting work stage, they are degraded to other works, like dry brushing or base coat working or base work, so for working on the actual base. Okay, I think you see where we're going here. It should be a very nice and bright green. I don't want to have here such a dull green tone like, for example, the wood elves would have. No, I want a really bright and striking color here. Okay, and the last highlight will be pure mood green. So, and that we will paint on the far edges, like here, for example. Then here on the knee. Down here at the rope. So basically the absolutely top areas. I know this work, what I'm doing right here, is not super mega power high quality standard. For that I would use wet blending or such. This is just a tabletop standard miniature for me. So, and I think yeah, the green is ready. So now we will work on the gray parts here, and for that I use Ashen Gray, and I need a white. There we have one, Ceramide White. So we have this already in a gray tone, so we need a brighter one. So we will mix us one. placing a little bit of gray on the palette and adding white to it. So, just like that. Also, adjust the amount of paint on the brush. And then highlight the area. Just very gently touching with the tip of the brush. And I get over and over the question why or how do I get so steady hands? As you can see, I'm using here still my little finger to press my hand against the other hand, and also my hands are laying flat on the ground. So that overall gives a very, very steady hand position, and that way you don't shake with all the brush work. It's very important. So yes, there are painting stations out there that are designed to place them on your legs while looking TV or such things, but I highly recommend you don't do that, because you will get very, very shaky hands. And that is not what we want to have. We want to have precise work here. And for precision, we need steady hands. Okay, that was the gray. And now I will highlight that even more with pure white. So just here and there, not everywhere. Just some spots where you think the light would hit the most and enlighten it. See? And overall that gives the whole miniature a very, very striking appearance. So now we will go for the bow to highlight him a little bit more. For that I use again LotR High Elves. The new scorched brown equivalent. So again, painting the bow with it, repairing some damage we have, or I have made. And after that, I will highlight this brown color with XV88. Just simply put it up above that next to the color, and then start mixing until you have the color that you're looking for, and I think that here is enough. So just like that. Now I'll do another step with a little bit brighter version, a little bit of water in it to give a bit of flow, and again over it. And I think that's enough. With the same color, I can go here on the tips of his shoes to highlight them. And also a little bit here on the back for the bows. Yeah, and we are almost done with the miniature. Now it's time for the face. For that I will use now that's too orange, it's too pinkish. What skin tone do we use? Okay, I think I will mix me one. Let's take a rosy flesh and mix in some some red skin flesh. That should give a nice skin tone. So here's the red skin. Vallejo model color rosy flesh. Mix them together. Yeah, that is nice. Very carefully adjusting the paint on the brush, and then I will go and highlight all the skin tone. Ah, damn it. I have hit the bow again. So now the face, very gently. Okay. Now we will highlight this color even more, with even more from the rosy flesh. Yeah, that's a good color. Very gently. And there we have it. Now we can paint the eyes. I use ivory for that. I normally don't like to paint eyes in pure white. That gives them such a mad look. Number one. Number two. Yeah. Now I need black. Pling. And from the other side. Pling. And now he has eyes. And I think the miniature is as good as done. Only thing left to do is the base. And I think we go for a nice contrast for the green, and for that I need a reddish tone. But first I will dry brush it with a brighter gray. And for those of you that are not aware what this is just some plates of cork glued on top of the normal base. So here we have the gray. There we have it. That with white. There we go. Just simply dry brush the whole thing. And I know you are thinking, wait a second, she wanted to make it red. Why is she painting it in grey? Well, that, my friends, will be revealed in a second. Okay, so that was the grey dry brush. And now we will take ivory and dry brushing with that also. And what that does is give a nice base for working with pigments. Yes, my friends, I want to make this base with pigments. Okay, that should do it. And what comes now are the pigments. You know, maybe here my little pigment palette. Those are Vallejo pigments, and I will just activate them again here with some water. This here is a rust tone. And with that I will go over the base. Yeah, no, it looks like it is 100% covering, but that's intended. Right now I have very less water in it here. Just want to cover the whole area with that liquid pigments. And also you can do that with every other pigment if you want to have a darker brown tone or an ochre tone or whatever. Just take the equivalent pigment and do it with that. So, almost done. So, there we are. Completely pigmented. And what I will do now is the following. I take my water cup, and now I'm well, washing away some of the pigment again. And what happens then is that the pigments itself are less dominant, only a few are left on the rocks. So, and when that dries, I promise you that will look awesome. So, let's get that away. And, well, I'll let that dry, paint the base corner, and then we're done. And I'll show you in a second the end result. And here we have the finished archer in all its glory. So, and for those of you that still don't know what I'm using as a holding device, this is just a cork or an old paint pot. Depends on the miniature what I'm using, and on top of it, this is just simply poster tag. In my case, I use Uhu Patafix. So, I hope you liked this tutorial, and well, if you want, give me a thumbs up, share it on Facebook, share it with your friends, and so on and so on. Until the next video, your Alexandra.